2.4 Main organ for photosynthesis, the necessity of photosynthesis in plants. Plants are autotrophic organisms that produce their own food through photosynthesis, which is glucose. Brief history of discovery of photosynthesis. In 1640s, Jan Baptista van Helmont carried out an experiment to test the idea that plants obtain their food from the soil. In the year 1772, an experiment conducted by Joseph Priestley showed that plants release oxygen to the atmosphere. This is an experiment that has been carried out by Helmont. In Helmont's conclusion, the plants had grown by only being watered and not from the water of the soil. Next, this is an experiment that has been carried out by Priestley. In Priestley's conclusion, plants release oxygen.
The adaptation of the internal structure of a leaf to photosynthesis. Photosynthesis needs chlorophyll to absorb light energy from the sun, carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and water from the soil. Oxygen is released as a byproduct. Besides, the leaf being the main photosynthesis organ, young stem and other green parts of the plants are also able to carry out photosynthesis. First, upper epidermis and lower epidermis. Transparent waxy cuticle on the upper and lower epidermis allows sunlight to penetrate the upper and lower epidermis into the palisade mesophyll. Stomata are present in the lower epidermis. In the presence of light, stomata open and allow gas exchange to occur. Second, palisade mesophyll. Packed with chloroplast, enable sunlight to be absorbed at a maximum rate. Chloroplast contains chlorophyll. Chlorophyll absorbs light energy for photosynthesis. Third, spongy mesophyll. Contains a lesser amount of chloroplast compared to palisade mesophyll. Contains air space to allow efficient gas exchange during photosynthesis. Lastly, vascular bundles. Xylem to transport water and mineral salt absorbed from the root to the leaf. 4. Phloem transport sucrose produced by photosynthesis from the leaf to all parts of the plant. Chloroplast structure. In Form 4, you will introduce to the chloroplast organelle in plant cells which function as a site for photosynthesis. A chloroplast contains chlorophyll to absorb sunlight and converts it into chemical energy during photosynthesis. The chloroplast consists of thylakoids, grana, stroma, and lamellae. A chloroplast consists of thylakoids, grana, stroma, and lamellae. For thylakoid, a disc-shaped sac contains chlorophyll. In thylakoid membrane, there are photosynthetic pigments that trap sunlight. Light-dependent reactions occurs in the thylakoid. Second, granum, a disc-shaped stack of thylakoids. This arrangement increases the surface area for optimal photosynthesis. Lastly, stroma, colorless fluid surrounding granum in the chloroplast, site for light-independent reaction to take place which produce glucose. How many types of photosynthetic pigments in leaves are involved to produce the green color of a plant? Do you know that the chromatography methods can be used to separate the photosynthetic pigments in leaves? Chromatography is a technique separating components of a mixture based on the difference in solubility of the components in certain solvents.
Light-dependent and light-independent reactions in photosynthesis. There are two main stages in photosynthesis, which are light-dependent reaction and light-independent reaction. Photosynthesis, light-dependent reactions, occurs in the thylakoids. Light-independent reactions occurs in the stroma. Light-dependent reactions. First, photosynthesis pigments on the surface of the thylakoids absorb light energy. Light energy excites electrons in chlorophyll pigments to a higher level. The excited electrons from the chlorophyll go through a series of electron carriers. The energy from the electrons is used to generate energy in the form of ATP. Eventually, these electrons are accepted by the last electron acceptor, which is the NADP+. The NADP+ then combines with H+ from photolysis and forms an ADPH, which is a reducing agent. Chlorophyll pigment attracts electrons from water via photolysis to become stable. Photolysis is a process whereby water molecules are broken down to form hydrogen ions and hydroxide ions in the presence of light energy and chlorophyll. Hydroxide ions lose electrons and form oxygen and water. Light-independent reactions. First, 5 carbon organic compounds fix carbon dioxide gases to form 6 carbon organic compounds. An ADPH and ATP from the light-dependent reaction reduces the organic compounds to glucose monomers. Glucose monomers condensate to form starch molecules. Starch granules are stored in the stroma of chloroplast. The overall reaction for photosynthesis can be represented by the following chemical reaction.
Comparison between light-dependent and light-independent reaction in photosynthesis. The similarities, it catalyzed by enzyme and take place in chloroplast. For the different, the light-dependent reaction produce ATP molecules, while light-independent use ATP molecules. Next, the reaction substance for light-dependent use water and its reaction products is oxygen and water molecules, while light-independent reaction substance is carbon dioxide and its product is glucose. Next, for light-dependence, it involves photolysis of water, while light-independence involves reduction of carbon dioxide. Last but not least, site for light dependence is in thylakoids, while light independent site is in stroma.
Environmental factors that affect the rate of photosynthesis. The first factor is carbon dioxide concentration. The increase in carbon dioxide concentration increases the photosynthesis rate as long as there are no other limiting factors such as surrounding temperature and light intensity. What is the limiting factor? Limiting factor is a factor that controls a biochemistry process and changes according to other variables. An increase in the limiting factor will increase the rate of a certain biochemistry process if the other factors are constant. The second factor is light intensity. Light is needed in the light-dependent reaction. If the concentration of carbon dioxide and temperature are constant, the rate of photosynthesis increases until it reaches its maximum point at noon. the last factor is temperature. The reactions in photosynthesis are catalyzed by enzymes. Therefore, changes of surrounding temperature will affect enzyme activity and also the rate of photosynthesis. The optimum temperature is different for different plant species, but in general, the optimum temperature is between 25 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. A very high temperature denatures the enzymes and the
Next
process
is
of
the effect of
photosynthesis.
different light intensities and light colors on the rate of photosynthesis. The rate of photosynthesis in plants is different throughout the day. Other than the light intensity factor, the rate of photosynthesis is also affected by the color of light. Light spectrum consists of 7 colors in a certain sequence, which is violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. And each color has a different wavelength. The rate of photosynthesis is the highest in red and blue light. You can see the graph on the right shows that a graph of light absorption against wavelength. Chlorophyll absorbs blue light. Chlorophyll A absorbs red light the most. This shows that the rate of photosynthesis occurs highest in red and blue light. This phenomenon occurs because the red light is absorbed by chlorophyll, while the blue light is absorbed by carotenoid pigments before being transferred to the chlorophyll.
Let me show you love, I love you too.